Thanks for tuning in to GTO Good Old Boys. Buckle up and enjoy the show with your host, Paul Ponder.
Hey guys, I'm Paul Ponder. We're here with the GTO Good Old Boys podcast, and we have the Slick Johnson in the house. And I'm telling you, it tickles me to death to see him. He's straightforward with everything he says. What we're going to do today is we're going to try to give these young folks a chance to understand how important it is to have sponsorships, how to acquire sponsorships, and not only acquire them, but how to keep them. You've got to keep them updated. You've got to be the number one of the one. You don't have to catch a lot of fish. You just got to be the man is what you got to do. Now, Slick knows more about it than I do because he's fished in a big situation. He wanted to go professional early in his life, and he's got some emotional stories to tell, which we can get them on one day in the future. And they are super good. I can sit and listen to him all day long. And with saying that, I'm going to go on to the sponsorships. Slick, tell them how sponsorships was when you were growing up, and then let's transpose that to the way it is now.
So back when I was coming up, you caught fish, and that's how you got sponsored. That's how you got noticed. If you were good, you were going to make it. Back then we had TV. Everything was on TV. So if you got to that point, to the elites, and back then that's all there was, the Bassmaster Top 150 and then the elites. And then, of course, FLW. And back then, sponsors could wrap a boat and you'd be seen on TV, or just having a wrap boat back then was special. And things have changed to where, social media has changed a lot of it. And it's not that way anymore where you're just going to, you can't give a sponsor what he needs just by having a wrap boat. And not to mention, we've seen the struggles with MLF, when through COVID and TV, not having TV. So now those guys, nobody has TV anymore. Everybody has Roku or streaming and that sort of thing. And so now that wrap boat and that wrap truck doesn't give the value it once gave. And so now you've got to find a way to be able to reach people. And we can reach more people through social media, through streaming, through podcasts, whatever it may be. And so now these professionals are seeing that, hey, I've got to do more to create value for my sponsor. And you're seeing social media guys now get paid more than pros do. Wow. You take Ben Milliken, for example. Ben Milliken, he's got over 500,000 followers on YouTube. He's going to create way more value on YouTube than he does in a Bassmaster Elite event. And, Bassmaster will get mad at me for saying this, MLF will get mad at me for saying this, but their numbers are bogus. The numbers where they show their views, those are not accurate numbers. Last week at Lake Fork, Bassmaster was showing their numbers, and they were putting it on YouTube because they had to. People were wanting it on YouTube. Well, what we got to see at one point was 2,600 people had watched on YouTube. Okay, they can't finagle the YouTube numbers. Well, they took those numbers off. They took that off because they didn't want people to see it. And when you look at Bass's numbers, and I can show it to you, it shows like 8 million people watched. Okay. Wow. Well, if I go look at that leaderboard, especially when Jordan Lee's doing well, I'm refreshing that leaderboard 100 times a day. It shows 100 people watched it.
Oh, so it does each time you refresh.
Each time, well, not necessarily refresh as much as looking at it, going on and doing something, and coming back and getting on.
Oh, okay.
And so the numbers are not totally accurate of how many people are watching it. Mm-hmm. If you go look at some of these weigh-ins, like Alabama Bass Trail, for instance, I don't remember the numbers the other day, but I think at one point I looked at it and there was 160 people watching. Mm-hmm. Okay. But then we show, when these tournament organizations show, they say, well, we had 30,000 people. Well, if I go, it's the same thing with TikTok and social media. If you go look at one of my posts for 3 seconds, it shows you viewed it, but you really didn't view it.
Right.
But then my analytics will tell me how many people watched the whole thing. So I may get a 10,000 view video, and I go back and 2,800 people watch the whole thing.
Gotcha.
You know, when you
Little
get
misleading.
it is. It's a little misleading that way, but that's why now these tournament organizations or these sponsors, the brands, are seeing more value in social media than they are with just having their name on somebody's boat.
Right.
And the good thing for the pros is they have the credibility. They've won, they've made it, they have the credibility. So if they can have the social media with the credibility, they're gonna make way more money doing that. And that's why we see it changing now. And the sponsorship dollars, you know, they're going down for these pros. They're going down for everybody.
Right.
And people's blaming it on the social media, and part of that's true, but it's the brands now are not seeing a value just from wrapping a boat.
Well, it's similar to this forward-facing sonar. The ones that come up in the old schools having troubles learning it, while the new guys don't even throw a rattle trap no more.
They don't know any different.
Right.
I do a lot with the rookies, the Bassmaster Elite rookies. I'm friends with several of them and done a lot of stuff with them, like just mentoring stuff, not teaching them how to fish. But, you know, some of them have told me, you know, that's how they were brought up. You know, I'll give you Logan Parks, for example. He won $1 million last year. He won the Bass Pro Shops $1 million tournament, him and Tucker Smith. And Logan didn't start fishing until the 11th grade. He didn't have a dad that fished. So he didn't have anybody showing him the basic principles of fishing. He's had to learn it on his own. And forward-facing sonar was the way. It shrinks the lake. You know, when you go to a big lake, take Guntersville, for example, it's overwhelming if you've never been there. But if you're using live scope and you're, you know, all of a sudden the lake shrunk because you're going to go fish ditches and things like that. So it's, you know, it's shrunk the lake. But yeah, the forward-facing sonar is one of those. You could get in 3 or 4 podcasts on that.
I bet you can. And we're gonna talk to some folks that do it, and hopefully get somebody that's trying to do it and see the differences or the troubles they do have, and maybe let people see how hard or how easy it is. Now, you're lucky to be able to fish with your son Lake.
Yeah.
Not many people get to do that because a lot of times it don't work like that. You could probably get emotional on some of those cases, could you not?
Yeah, it's you know, when I brought him up, I wanted to teach him the right way to fish. As far as, like, I could go to Wheeler and it's going to be one on this spot or that spot. I didn't want to make it about that. And when he and I first started fishing, we won the first 3 tournaments we fished. And I said, man, I can't make him think this is what it's all about.
Right.
And so I said, okay, I'm going to show him how to fish a pattern and fish the right way. And we went 3 or 4 tournaments. We didn't do very good. And he looked at me one day and he said, thought you were supposed to be good on this lake. And I said, well, winning's not fun. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, well, you fish differently when you're trying to win. You're trying to catch 5 big fish. And so that's totally different. You're 9 years old. I want to go catch them for you. I want you to be excited. He said, I want to win. Ooh. And I said, well, okay, I'll teach you how to win, but sometimes we may only get 5 or 6 bites in a day.
Right.
And we went and fished a tournament, and I said, today's going to be tough, buddy. I said, we're going to get 5 or 6 bites. It was 33 degrees that day. And I said, you're fixing to find out. I think we caught 38.
Wow.
It didn't work out, you know. My plan didn't work out. But, yeah, it's been awesome to watch him come up. There is negative to it, believe it or not. For him, and Fisher's the same way. When they win, and they win a lot. You know, between him and Fisher both, they've probably won 25 high school events.
Wow, that's
and
amazing.
What happens is people say, well, that's because your daddy put you on them, or, you know, daddy's waypoints. And I'll tell you something about those two. They don't let daddy go with them.
I know that for a fact.
When they're practicing, I don't get to go. Lake won 2 weeks ago at Smith Lake. I never got in the boat with him until the day of the tournament.
Well, I can vouch for that, guys, because this man right here has actually been sitting here talking and us carrying on and cutting up and having a good time because Lake wouldn't let him in his boat.
That's right.
And he said, Daddy, you ain't getting in my boat. I'm going to be forward facing. I don't want you nowhere around.
Yep.
And it is so funny to hear him because Lake is so shy, but he's so stern when he talks to his dad.
He is.
But he's growing up. Guys, we're fixing to go on a break. This is Slick Johnson. We're going to cover some more things when we get back. Don't miss it. He's the man. Now.
We'll be back with more GTO Good Old Boys after this.
Hey, I'm Micah McCreary,
And I'm Rich Fry, and welcome to Truex Outdoors.
the ultimate outdoor show.
So come tag along with us as we experience thrilling adventures in hunting and fishing.
From the mountains to the rivers, we'll bring you the most action-packed outdoor experiences.
Watch us now on NGBN TV.
Truex Outdoors.